Here's the problem with investing. There's way too much information out there and you have no idea what to focus on or what numbers actually matter. You can go to Yahoo Finance and it'll tell you all the statistics about a business, but there are just so many definitions to memorize and there's really no place that teaches you how to put everything together and to focus on the few key things that matter. Even if you know how to find the company's financial statements, yeah, you can look up all the definitions of what all these terms mean, but you don't know what like how to make sense of it all, right? And you can even go rely on investing blogs like Seeking Alpha, where other people that have done work on a company can tell you what they think, but you have no idea how to evaluate those people because you don't know what matters. Like it would be like if a student had to grade another student's paper without actually knowing what to look for, right? And so this is the gap that I'd like to fill with my course, the Investor Operating System. The other problem with this industry is that a lot of people claim to be experts and they take advantage of the fact that this is so confusing and there's a lot of like people that are claiming to be experts but aren't actually experts. And I'm not an expert, right? So let me just make that completely clear. I'm just a guy who happened to be in the right place at the right time a few times, right? And I've had some amazing mentors along the way. I worked at a private single family office where I was a sole analyst reporting to the portfolio manager. We analyzed over 60 industries together and used a really simple strategy: buy and hold great businesses run by great management teams. Before that, I worked in restructuring investment banking. And before that, I've interned at a couple of hedge funds. And before that, I graduated from NYU Stern with a 3.95 GPA. So the only thing I want to do here is to just share everything that I've learned in a short, engaging online course that hopefully should get you started with investing. And my goal is for you to build the key mental models and frameworks that you need to look at stocks and to evaluate other people's analyses of stocks and whatever they recommend, right? So this is purely educational, not financial advice. I just want to arm you guys with the Wall Street wisdom that I've gathered over the past 10 years, right? The strategy that I use in my course is, the best hedge fund managers in the world are required to report their filings 4 times a year in mid-February, mid-May, mid-August, and mid-November. And so you can easily look up what stocks the best investors in the world own. Now, the problem is, unless you work in the industry, you don't know who the best investors are, right? And so, in my opinion, based on my experience in the industry, these are some of the best long-term focused hedge funds, right? So these guys aren't trading in and out of names. They buy and hold great businesses, similar to what Warren Buffett does. So I'm generally tracking these funds like Abrams Capital, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Lone Pine Capital, Tiger Global, Cunith Gold Farm. And I want to be as efficient as possible in my research. So I leverage these firms' research and I use that as a starting point for my analysis, right? So if we can just take one of these names for one of these funds, for example, like Abrams Capital, okay, they're based out of Boston. And you can look up what things they own, right? This is a totally free website. It's called whalewisdom.com. And you can see that they own these stocks, right? So then I'll go do that for all these different funds and I'll compile a list of stocks that these investors that are way smarter than me own. And then I begin my analysis, right? Like I'll tick through different companies because the key is to know what you own, right? So then what I do is I'm going to use this valuation spreadsheet where all you got to do is punch in 9 inputs and it values the stock for you. Some of this stuff is easy to look up, like the share price, the beta, and the latest inflation numbers. But these other things like the earnings per share, the return on equity, the payout ratio, and the perpetuity EPS growth, I'll explain what all that stuff means in the course, but these are the things that take a little bit more research to know. And the problem is with investing is that you can take there's plenty of online courses on investing, right? There's some great ones on, let me move my face here, on Udemy, for example, right? So we can just go look these up right now. What they do is they teach a lot of definitions, okay? Complete, investing course. And I'm not saying you shouldn't take these courses. They're a really great place to start and a way to supplement your learning. But yeah, there's active versus passive, different strategies, qualitative, quantitative, fundamental, a lot of metrics in here, chart patterns. The problem with learning in general is it's, and this goes back to like even learning in high school and in college, it's really definition based, right? It's memorizing a bunch of definitions. And that would be equivalent to me giving you a bunch of food like piecemeal, but not giving you a plate to put everything on, right? So my course, the Investor Operating System, think of it as the plate on which you can put other courses and other things that you read and that you learn about investing, right? It doesn't matter if you want to be an entrepreneur or an investor. All of like business comes down to 6 key questions. What problem is the business solving for its customers? How does the business make money? Can the business defend itself against competition? How fast will the business grow and for how long? What are my estimated annual returns? And what is the overall risk versus reward, right? And so when you go inside the course, that's how I've structured the entire course. Is there's this overview where we go over the simple valuation spreadsheet that I just showed you, and then we go into real world examples of Costco, Spotify, and Basic Fit, and we answer these basic questions that a 5th grader would ask, right? Unless you can explain why you own a stock to a 5th grader, you absolutely should not own that stock. And that's not something that I came up with. That's what Peter Lynch, one of the greatest investors of all time, says to any investor, right? Whether you're a retail investor or a professional. It's unbelievable the amount of professionals that own stocks where they cannot answer these simple questions. And it's because the industry is just riddled with this disease of wanting to sound smart and use these like sophisticated terms like liquidity or EBITDA or return on equity instead of just understanding what's actually going on, right? And that's what I want to do in the course. I really just want to simplify investing, and I want to take the stuff that's in my brain and hopefully download as much of it as possible to you in a simple, straightforward way so that you have this operating system for which to think about investing, right? After this course, you'll be able to read any one of these articles and you'll be able to grade the articles, right? You'll be able to see immediately, okay, what's missing from this article? What are they not saying? Instead of just saying, oh, this article sounds good, seems reasonable, or maybe you use Amazon all the time and so maybe you own Amazon stock. But the reality is just because a company has a good product or a visionary CEO or a visionary founder, it doesn't mean that the stock is a good investment, right? Ultimately, you have to be able to convert this stuff, these financial statements that are really complicated and confusing into like simple unit economics, right? So I'll show you what that would look like for Costco, which is one that we go over, right? So we want to convert these confusing financial statements. This is Airbnb, it'll look similar, right? To something like this, right? The unit economics, like how many warehouses does Costco have? How many customers per warehouse, right? How much revenue per warehouse does Costco generate? What are the margins of the business, right? Like how much of the revenue trickles down into profits, right? And how is that going to change over time, right? So these are the things that I go over in the course, and the entire course is self-paced. So you can watch one video a week or one video a month. You can do whatever you want, right? It's all the videos are available. You can go at your own pace. The other thing is that I also do a lot of live Q&A sessions, and I'm generally available over email to just talk investing or to answer a lot of questions. And yeah, that's the course. And if you are ready to level up your investing game, then click the button to enroll.